What up, ninjas? Alright, today we're going to do a video on stretching and flexibility. I'm going to show some different ways to stretch using your belt and also working with the awesome foam roller today. I found, as I move closer and closer to 50 years old, and I know some of you guys out there are already in your 50s and maybe even older than that doing jiu-jitsu, and also a warning for all my young guys out there too, flexibility is key. I feel like it's one of the key components to success as a BJJ stylist after 40 and after 50 and 60 as well. It's one of those things that when I was younger, maybe I didn't have good discipline around my stretching. Now I feel like stretching there's no excuse if you don't stretch, because all it requires is just a little bit of discipline and getting down on the floor and doing something. So it doesn't require a lot, and I feel like the benefits that you're going to get from stretching are going to be so worthwhile long term. So today we're going to start with a few stretches without the belt or the foam roller. I like to use the same stretches every time when I stretch because I want my body to remember that I'm doing jiu-jitsu now. I want to build that muscle memory around my training. So the first thing I always start out with is just rolling back a little bit. So I like to grab behind my legs right here and just start slowly working, stretching out my spine, getting it loose. And as I come forward, I like to work those hips forward a little bit. So little by little, I'm going to be getting my toes to the floor behind the head. I like to play a lot of inverted and kind of crazy positions a lot. So for me, having my spine loose and relaxed and being comfortable in these positions is really key for me to prevent injuries. And being, about 155 and being a small guy, I do tend to get stacked up a lot. So for me, keeping my spine real loose is really a key to my success, on and off the mats. And see how little by little I just start working into my basic stretches, going into my butterfly stretch, still rolling back with the toes. I like to get, a few seconds in each spot. And every exercise, I'm kind of rushing through it right now, I'd probably want to spend a minute to a minute and a half, maybe about 90 seconds per exercise. It's important that when you come back in these inverted positions that you relax and that you breathe. You can't hold your breath. If you hold your breath, it's going to be super uncomfortable. So nice relaxed breath when you're back here, and then slowly coming up. And then now I'm going to work my belt into the game a little bit. So I'm going to take my belt and I'm going to wrap it around my feet. Now I'm going to use it so that I can pull the legs back over the head. And as I come forward, I'll go into one leg and I can use it just like rope to pull my body down. And then I can pull the one leg over. And as I come forward, I just make a little switch right here. And then I go to the other side. And the same thing, I'm just pulling that leg back over the head. And then I can bring both feet in. I can go nice and wide right here. Then I can take this belt and I just grab it real tight here. And I can grab on like a handle. And just slowly bring my body forward. I can go right back into those legs. Over the head. Little by little, just like that. One of the other stretches I like to do, I'm a big triangle choke guy. So for me, having flexibility here is really key. If you do have knee issues, I do recommend maybe avoiding this one right here, but if you don't have any issues with your knees, this is a great way to really loosen up your hips. So what I like to do is take the belt, wrap it around the foot, then I go behind my neck, and I put the foot right into the crook of my arm right here, and I just start to pull, like a pulley system. And little by little, I bring that foot higher and higher until I can get it nice and flat right here. And of course I couldn't always get it up like this high. It's taking me time, and work and discipline to get my legs so that I do have this really nice flexibility with my hips so that I can work if I want to work rubber guard or if I want to, work triangles, omoplatas, that kind of thing. So this is a great stretch for keeping the hips, the knees, and everything nice and loose right there. And you can do it, of course, on both legs as well. I also like to work here as well. So I like to take the legs, a lot of you guys have seen this stretch, very similar to doing the omoplata. The only thing I do a little bit different with it, for me this doesn't take a lot to get down there, I don't really feel that. So I like to come around and bring my shoulder right in front of that knee. And the key here is to not lift your hips up, to let your hips sink into the floor and breathe. I like to do like 3 seconds in, then like 5 to 6 seconds going out. And this is a great stretch right here to keeping the hips and everything nice and loose. And then when I come up, I take the hip flexor and I just push the hip flexor out away from my body. And this feels really nice as well. And of course you can flip it around and do the same thing, you know, on the other side as well. And then working into the hip flexor stretch. All right, and now I'm gonna show some of my favorite wall stretches and also some standing stretches. One of the stretches I like to do is just a basic stretch kick. So hands come up in the air here. This is a great one to kind of get everything nice and loose. This is just a matter of swinging those legs nice and straight up towards the hand. These are great to just loosen the legs up. If you do kicking martial arts, these are awesome. You know, I have my Taekwondo background, so you know, that's kind of where this comes from. I love these stretches just to get the body loose as I get ready to stretch on the wall. And then now I pick one leg up, bring my leg back, and just leaning into my stretch, you know, 30, 60 seconds, just holding it right here. Breathe in. And I feel like the key to stretching is good breath control. You have to breathe. You can't and just sit here in misery and fight the stretch. You have to breathe. So get nice and relaxed. And after I get, you know, a minute and a half there, I like to lower the leg down and then loosen up the hips here. So just putting some weight into the hips feels awesome. And it feels real nice, you know, working guard. These hip flexors get really sore. So this is a great way to keep the hips loose. Then we just work the same thing on the other side. Leg up, kicking this leg back, letting the wall really do the work for me. So I'm just leaning into the wall right here with my leg, and I can bring the head towards the knee. And then when I'm ready, I lower down, and then we just go right into our hips right here as well. And then working our way down on the ground now. This is kind of a nice old school stretch. And basically the way I think of this is the wall kind of becomes the floor. And this is a great way to stretch when you don't have a partner to stretch with. And it's just bringing these legs nice and wide, putting the weight into the heels, and then just slowly pushing and relaxing into the hips. So you want your butt all the way to the wall as if the wall were now the floor. And just breathe in. And again, you know, 30, 60 seconds, a minute and a half is great here. And about every like 15 or 20 seconds, I'd like to walk my legs up just a hair wider. Because the longer you stretch, the more flexible you're gonna get and the more relaxed the muscles are gonna become. And then we wanna slowly just bring them back together. And then right here, we just bring the knee into the chest. Again, holding it, you know, 30 seconds, 60 seconds, something like that. And then the same thing on the other side. This is gonna feel great, you know, after that stretch. And then I like to just come off the wall here and then turn my body around and start working on getting my back nice and stretched here. So I bring my hands to the wall to find the wall. I'm gonna walk my toes right down that wall. And you're gonna get to where it feels the best for you. And then I bring these hands forward, and then we just work our knees side to side. This is a great stretch to help you if you are interested in learning how to invert your body. And if you're a smaller guy, like me, you're gonna get stacked a lot. And it's important to be comfortable and relaxed in these positions that aren't always the most comfortable. There was a time when I would be in this position, I would just be like dying down here. But now I can stay pretty relaxed and pretty comfortable. And it just feels good. You can work your way, you know, kind of forward and back, just walking your toes down that wall like a spider. And then just moving that body side to side. Boom, just like that, feels great. And it's fun using that wall to work your stretches.